10, 9, 8,
Oh,
7,
okay.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Full failure. That's what it is. But welcome to
That's
Tamra
okay.
Simon's Live and the Real Estate Power Chat. We have Tony Farias. Did I say that right? Or did
Farias.
I
Most
did I
people can't.
totally
Most people chop it up, so
Farias?
don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they chopped my name too, so I apologize.
Hey, man, I've
But
been
we're
used to this since I was a
talking
kid.
about mortgage, and a shifting market. So, Tony, since I know you, but maybe my audience doesn't, let's tell them about you.
Sure. My name is Tony Farias. I'm a mortgage lender here in Utah, and I've had my license since '08, and I've enjoyed every minute of the shifting market from then to now. And, I'm in this to help people out. I got a couple affirmations that I believe in and I believe by. I'm making people wealthy through real estate. I'm in the people business, and mortgages are my product. And the reason why I do this majorly is because my mother unfortunately never bought a home, and I don't want to see people miss out, I guess, in the opportunity of home ownership, establishing your roots, having something for the future. And we all have kids. Most of us have kids, so I always want the kids feel happy and safe when they arrive at home or in their home, in their room, whatever it is. So I got a couple different motivations.
Nice. I love it. Well, and it's June, so it's home ownership month.
You got it.
And we work our hardest to get those people into those homes. And have you found that it's a little tougher right now to get people into homes, or are you not seeing that?
I am, because you hear about all the news. You can log on to Facebook, Yahoo, whatever news channel outlet that you run into or you like to watch, and you're going to hear a lot of pessimistic things about the homes, not home buying, blah blah blah, and the rumors start flying out there. And it's just one of those unfortunate things that, yeah, we're a little bit of a shifting market, and it's some people don't want to move forward, but some people do. So we've got to focus and educate the ones that don't, and we've got to keep focusing on the ones that do.
Wonderful. Now, what is one of the things that you tell someone that's a first-time home buyer? How do you start that process with them?
Sure. I tell them, especially if I have them on the phone already, I tell them, hey, this is step one of your home buying journey and future. Is this phone call right here? Chatting with me, figuring out who you are, figuring out what your goals are and how I can help you fulfill those goals, and figuring out if you're ready now to fulfill that goal, or is it going to be sometime in the future? Whatever that is, we're here to talk to them, or I'm here to talk to them and walk them through it. So I tell them, your first step, you've taken it by having this phone call, either with the real estate agent or hopefully with me, so I can figure out who they are on pen and paper, so I can pass them back over to agents that we're working with.
Wonderful. Now, after they have that conversation with you, what do you tell them? What do you tell them that they, do you set up the expectation of how the process looks? Because I know on the realtor side, because I've been doing it 17 years, but when you're setting that process up on the lending side, what does that look like for a first-time home buyer?
Sure. The process looks like this. Like I said, the phone conversation is number one. And then we try to figure out, just kind of get an intro call going on and figure out who they are, if we can, at that point in time, if that's the correct point in time. The number one thing I tell them is, what questions do you have for me? Because, sometimes we think to ourselves, we got all these questions, and sometimes we're good about writing them on pen and paper, and sometimes we're not. I think most people are not. So they have all these questions flood in. And as soon as it's go time, those questions flow right out of your head. So number one thing I tell my people is, what questions or things have you heard right now that I can help answer right off the bat? Boom.
Yeah.
So I know what their concerns are. So I'm writing them down too. I'm a pen and paper guy. So I'm writing things down and making sure that I'm keeping notes to figure out where their pain points are, what their concerns are, what are the things that they're not educated on, or the things that they've heard. I want to put those to rest. Are you on the correct path, or are you not? Let's figure it out. So I like to start off just really easy and basic, and just like we're doing, just have an easy conversation. I don't want them to feel pressured. I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. I'm just having a conversation. We're just hanging out. what I call chopping it up and figuring out what can I do to help out? How can I help?
Now, when they ask these questions, are they ever concerned with, what their payment's going to look like, but how they get to that point? When they're looking at, okay, I only want to spend $1,500 a month on my house payment.
Sure,
That's pretty rough in this market.
definitely. Yeah, we
And
definitely
then they
get to those
heard
pain
all of
points.
the interest rate stories and they're all kind of freaked out about that. How do you walk them through that process?
I tell them, when they come with me and say, "Oh, I've heard it's not a good time or the interest rates are high," I said, "We're not even there yet." I said, "Those are all great concerns that we can talk about, but we got to try to figure out, are you ready to buy now? Is this even your market, or is your market the next market?" And
Yeah,
you and I both don't know what that next market will be. Will it be another rate drop in the future? Yeah. Will it be the times get rougher? It could be. We don't know, but we're taking
right.
it step by step, person by person. So I let them know. Say, hey, let's figure out, first of all, there's four things I believe in a mortgage: credit, income, assets, and your plan from the three above. I said, let's focus on those three basics of who you are. Let's figure out what we can do. Hey, I want a payment of $1,500. Perfect. Let's see if that's sustainable for you. Do you have the down payment to have that small down payment? Who are you? We're trying to figure out who they are. They know who they are as a person, but who are they as a future home buyer?
As a buyer, yeah, yeah. Well,
Exactly.
because it's a whole different ball game. Because I know I educate my clients from start to finish, and then I have clear conversation with my vendors. So if I'm working with you, I'm on the phone with you. I know every step of the process, so
Of course.
nothing is a surprise. Now,
100%.
and I know that you're a communicative person. So when you're working with your realtor partners and your home buyers, you are definitely always in communication. That's not something you fall short on.
Thank you.
And because that's huge in this field is, and I think it's kind of a lost art because people are not communicating like they should. A text message doesn't give you emotion.
Nope.
You've got to have a clear conversation. And so when an agent calls you and they're like, all right, has this client even gone through underwriting before I'm writing an offer? Because we
Sure.
know in this market, they have to be extremely solid so
Hmm.
that an agent can, put their client and say, yep, this is the offer that you want to accept because my client is ready to go.
One thing that we do is I don't send anybody out home shopping with you or with anybody else without I know it's a deal. I just don't take a phone call and say, "Hey, these are the parameters they gave me. They're ready to go." Will I give you feedback and communication saying, "The lead you sent me, here's how I see it at this point in time"? I actually like to rank my leads A, B, C, and D. A is somebody who's ready to go. B, somebody who's really very close. C, somebody maybe 6 to 12 months. And D, somebody who's probably 24 months or further out. And I like to rank them so I can give you the immediate feedback. Joe Schmo, who you sent me over, he is a B because his lease is not up until November. But everything
Right.
else looks really solid. If it was this market right now, he's ready to go, then he can qualify for this. But the plan is to say, hey, we're going to talk to him again in August, be able to pull his credit again or look at his pay stubs. As long as that hasn't changed, we're ready to go. And it's interesting you tell me that communication, that it's a lost art, because I think it's an art that should be keep refining and refiguring out how you can do it.
Mhm.
And how can you get in touch with people? How can you text messages are great, phone calls are awesome, in person's best. I read the 7 levels of communication. It's a great book, kind of shows you the pyramid of how people should be communicated to, and I try to follow different ideas and tips for my own business, and make sure that those lines of communication are always open. I tell people, you can call me, you can visit me, you can text me, you can email me, you can send a pigeon, whatever is easiest for you. We're going to figure out a way to chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, because I'm very much a communication type agent as well as a person.
Sure.
I just feel that, I get text messages all the time, but there's no way to get any emotion behind that. So, I mean, I don't know. Are they mad? Are they happy? Are they frustrated? You can't get any of that through text messaging or any, even through social media platforms messaging. You've
Of
got to
course.
have a conversation. And in this market, I think it's even more crucial to have that door open because you need to understand where the buyer sits as long, so that the agent can help that buyer out and that the buyer and realtor can have a, good solid relationship to get that buyer to home ownership.
Agree. Definitely. You got to have that. You got to make sure that I know the plan, you know the plan, and they know the plan. Because if one
Absolutely.
of us in that triangle is missing, that triangle of trust is going to break down quickly.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
got to know.
Well,
We got to know
you
where
won't
they're
get any
at.
repeat business. I mean, you're not going to get a repeat client and they're not
They're
going to
not,
refer you out.
of course.
And I mean, when I got in business, and I've been in business since '05, but by the time it was 2010, I was full referral. Most of my business came from referral agents that, for referral clients even that
Sure.
I'd worked with
Sure.
in the past.
I could see that.
And I think that's really important that people trust us enough to come back to send their family to us. So,
Definitely. Makes you feel
that's
good.
it does, and I think we're helping them make the biggest decision of their life.
Of course.
That you want to be that source that they always come back to.
100%. You do. You want to be, you want to be liked, and you want to be able to be respected and know that they're knowledgeable. And people say, "Hey, you can go to that person because I had a great experience. They were knowledgeable. They walked me down that path. Home buying, refinancing, whatever that might be. There's always has to be a plan and a form of communication. I have my week laid out by the day. I feed my days in regards to who I'm communicating with and what I'm communicating over to them, so everybody knows, hey, he's going to get to me and he's going to chat with me one way or another. But I always tell people, you can always call me, text me. We're going to figure out a way to talk.
Wonderful. Now let's talk some programs that you offer, because
Excellent.
you're with what is it? Which mortgage company are
American
you?
Pacific Mortgage.
American Pacific Mortgage. Okay, so what
Correct.
what kind of programs are you offering?
So I always tell people this: American Pacific Mortgage is the biggest lender you've never heard of, first and foremost. The reason why I say that is because we're a California based company. We've got a branch out here in Utah. In California, they're one of the biggest lenders, biggest FHA lenders, one of the biggest VA lenders out there. So we've got an array of programs because of such a reach. I mean, California's, I mean, you go there for a trip, you see how vast it is, how many people are there, how the values of homes are up there all the time. We just got back from a conference and I was sitting next to a gentleman and I asked him, "What's the smallest loan amount you've done?" He goes, $1 million. I said, "Well, it's because we have great jumbo products, and I know that he's
Yeah.
out there selling those." So a lot of the things that we do is that we focus on helping everybody out with the products that we have. A couple of the top three things that we focus on, or my team and I like to focus on, is number one, the first time home buyer. We're very good at those first time home buyers, nurturing those people, walking them down the path of home buying if it's now or in the future. Number two is that we're really good at the jumbo loans. As I said, we feel like we're one of the biggest investors in regards to the jumbo market. And in Utah, let's face it, I mean, the medium home price is $650 in Salt Lake. That's the jumbo loan at that amount. So anything above that, we want to be able to help people out. And number three is because I speak Spanish. I speak Spanish, so I'd like to take care of my community and figure out, doesn't matter if they're a first-time home buyer, a move-up buyer, investor, whatever it is, but we want to make sure that the Hispanic community is involved in home buying and expanding their reach in regards to owning land, because they love to own land. So those are kind of
Absolutely.
the three things that we focus on. Product wise, like I was saying, I mean, we offer everything from Utah Housing, Chinoa, different grant programs. We've got, I think it's 15 different jumbo loan investors. So it's very, very big in regards to that pool. And obviously, like I said, I speak Spanish. And, there's that fourth part, and that's that middle part, the move up buyer that a lot of people are competing with. And that's why we like to be different. And we kind of like to play in the ends.
Wonderful. Now, when we're talking loan products, what does a credit score need to be in order to qualify for some of these programs?
Yeah, the first time home buyers, I mean, they can qualify for a program as low as 600, 620 in regards to their credit score. If they have their own down payment, they could even go lower than that. So that's a great benefit in regards to saying, hey, first-time home buyer, we can make this work because you have your own down payment, even if you have a 600 credit score. In regards to the jumbo deals, we can go as low as 680 in regards to the credit score. So people are buying big homes with not perfect credit scores, because you think $1 million home, jumbo loan, do I need a perfect, record? You don't. We want it to be as better as the better, the easier for you, obviously, but we want to make sure we work with them. And that's a great benefit of having such a wide range of different products and different things that we can go into and do for people.
Wonderful. Now, what is some of these down payments? What does the percentage look like? How much are they actually having to have down? Because there's always the myth out there, they got to have 20%. And we know that that's not always the case. So what do some of those percentages look like?
One of the things that I tell people is this. I say, look, there's a lot of different products out there. There's the first-time home buyer product. Let's say, for example, Utah housing, that's very popular here in Utah. And there's probably a Utah housing deal getting signed right now as we speak, because that's how much it's used. And it's still very well accepted throughout the community. I tell people, look, for example, Utah housing is going to cover your down payment completely. They're going to cover your down payment completely. Now, they're going to give you some extra on top, depending on where your credit score falls and what program from Utah housing that you get. More than likely, they're going to cover about 99% of your closing costs. Now, you're going to come in with that 1%. You're going to come in with that 1%. Is it because it's your earnest money, because it's the rest of your closing costs that you have to cover? But you always have to cover with something. I tell people there's really there's hardly ever any time that you're not going to come out zero out of pocket. Now, have we structured deals where we actually gave people back money at the closing table? There is, and that's just crafty in regards to how we lay out our programs and how we structure the deal. But that's something because you helped us structure it correctly, so we were able to use the numbers in regards to how you guys negotiated that. So it's a team effort, and that's why, once again, it goes back to the communication. That's so important.
Wonderful. So when you're talking, besides the Utah housing, which we know is almost 99%, finance, not necessarily 100% anymore.
Sure.
If someone's going to go FHA, are they still looking at 3.5% for their down payment?
They are. They're looking at a 3.5% for their down payment. They're going to be. That's a great starter, because people say, "Well, I want to go conventional." Well, great. Conventional is a great product, but two things. First of all, conventional is not going to let you have the higher approval amount as FHA. Number two, conventional might let you come in with 3% down, but if you're over that income limit, it's going to have you come in with 5% down. So we got to look at what's the best fit for you. And we know that in this market that we're in here, especially in Utah, is that the approval amount's got to be high, because our values are climbing up there every single day. So that's one thing. The FHA is a great product because it lets you come in with 3.5%. And closing costs. Let's talk about closing costs. People think, well, I need down payment and closing costs, or they don't have no idea what closing costs are. I say, hey, you know what? Maybe you don't have the whole thing. Maybe you don't have, let's get crafty. Do we have somebody who can gift you some money? Can we get it from the seller? Can we get it from our interest rate? Where can we come up with this money? I always tell people, don't worry, we will figure it out. And sometimes it drives my assistant nuts, because I am such a, hey, I'm a positive person. I say, we're going to figure this out. If we got them this far, the deal is not going to die because of a couple $100 that's separating us. I know that we work with good people like yourself and be like, hey, whatever I got to take from my end to make it work, we're going to pitch in to help these people get forward, because we know it goes once again to doing a great job for people so they can know and trust us for the future.
Absolutely. Now, talking about down payment, let's touch base on, because I know down payment can come from many sources.
Definitely.
And just in my own business, I'm seeing a lot of my clients are actually reaching into their 401ks so that they can pull additional funds together, because so much additional equity leverage is what they're needing when they're showing, okay, this is what I've got. This is, and I can go this high, because we know we're still seeing multiple offers in certain price ranges.
Of course,
and
we are. So many.
That additional extra cash to come to the table with. So what are you seeing? Because I know my clients are seeing, they're pulling it from their 401k to take care of down payment and additional funds. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing the same thing. A lot of people are finally tapping into that 401k. Unfortunately, with the stock market being down, they're losing a little bit of that power there of their monies. But people are still tapping into their 401k. I've got a gentleman right now that we're working with. He's going to be tapping into his 401k because he knows investment here is still going to be an investment there. He's still taking his money, just putting it in a different vehicle. And as long as he's not out spending it just to spend it or go on a great vacation, and he's investing it, I'm all about that. Another thing that I'm seeing is people, like I said, reaching out to other family members who are saying, hey, I have some money that I want to give to you as a gift. Excellent. We can do that. But it's got to be family members. It's got to be able to make sure we structure it correctly. We just got doing another deal where the employer actually gave some money as a gift. So people can get out there and if their employer has some type of program that they already established for, or they're willing to give us some type of gift. And the key word there is gift. We have to make sure that it's going to be an actual gift. It's not going to be that you're borrowing money from them, because that's another liability for you. So we got to make sure that we are educating people correctly so they know what to look for and how to be able to structure or help structure their own deal.
Absolutely. And that comes back to making sure that they stay in communication with their lender so that their lender can walk them through this process. And I mean, time is of the essence in any real estate deal. And it's getting our clients to understand that that is extremely important. Don't you agree?
I agree. And I'm going to give you a little thing that I say to my people. And I tell them this. I say, you've got to understand my role. You got to understand who I am and what I do for you. There's two parts to the lending business, and there's two parts to home buying. Part number one to home buying is talking to me as your lender, figuring out who you are, figuring out how much we can get you approved for. That's part one. If the stars line up on that, then we're going to send you over to part two, and we're going to get you out to home buying, because it's not a given that you're going to find a home. Mm-hmm. That's part two. But going back to who I am as a lender, I tell people this. I say, look, you've got to make sure that you trust me first and foremost, because if you don't trust me, there's a miscommunication there or a misconnect. That's not good for you, because I'm trying to help you out. You got to understand that I am your mortgage attorney. When you have an attorney, you're giving them all the confidentiality. You're giving all the confident documents. You're talking about your full story. You've got to be able to have that trust in me and give me your full story of who you are. Where's your money coming from? Where have you been working? What's going on with your credit? Why is this credit score low? Why is it so great? Whatever the story might be, I need to know the full story, because as soon as we have that pre-approval, you're out looking, you're under contract, we're going to take that contract and your file, and we're going to submit it over to the judge. Now, who is the judge? The judge is the underwriter. The judge is the person who's going to look at your contract, is going to look at your deal, is going to look at your loan program and saying, yep, Tony and his team did this correct. Check, check, check. So we don't have any unmarked, unchecked boxes, and we don't have no issues to closing. We're going to have a smooth ride, but we want to get through to the judge as smooth as possible.
That sounds like a great plan. Now, anything that, last minute, because I know that you're a busy guy and I don't want to take up much more of your time. And I really appreciate you joining me today. But what is, one last thing that you could, just some advice you could throw out there?
Sure. Like I said, the advice I throw out to people is, like I said, the basics of buying a home or a mortgage. Credit. Know your credit. Know where you're at with your credit. Whatever it is, even if you use Credit Karma, if you use myfico.com, whatever that is, have a pulse on your credit, what you've been doing. Pay your credit cards on time. Keep your credit card balances low. Do the simple things. Pay your bills on time, whatever that might be. Income. Know that you need 2 years of work history, not consistent work history, but you need 2 years of work history, being able to say, hey, I've got 2 years of work history, because they want to know who you've been and what more likely is going to happen in the future in regards to your work. Money's for home buying, like we were talking about. Have you saved some money? Are you getting a gift? Make sure that you know exactly where that money's coming from. Are you trying to use a program? Why are you trying to use a program? If you have money on the sideline ready to help you home buy, what is it? Let's figure out your plan. Know those three things: credit, income, and assets. Have an idea, so when you talk to myself or a future lender, you know exactly kind of what the information they're going to be looking for.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Tony. I certainly appreciate your time, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And also, anyone out there that is looking for a mortgage lender, get in touch with Tony. He can definitely direct you in the right way, and you'll get an actual house. So
there you go.
Thanks again, Tony. Everyone, take care.
This is Tamra Simons Live, where real estate agents from around the globe come together to grow, collaborate, and expand their business. Where we take our inspiring conversations